Hello, everyone. Today I have brought you another special guest, Luke, my student, who has achieved excellent results. Now, in the meantime, I thank him for being here and give the floor to him so he can introduce himself, tell us a little about who he is and what he used to do.
So, hello everyone. Well, thank you, Ricky, for the invitation. Anyway, I'm Luke. I'm 20 years old. I started publishing in August, but I had already been working online for a couple of years. I began as a seller while I was finishing school. Then from there, I set aside some budget. I did it for about a year. Then, at the beginning of 2022, I said I wanted to do drop shipping. I started working for some guys. Then I opened my store with ups and downs. I also set aside another budget there. And then in August, I met you and started Self.
Okay, first I do drop shipping. Maybe later we can also look at some of the differences, which could be interesting between one business model and another. So let's say you know us. How did you get to know us?
But then, through word of mouth, in a few words, they showed me your course first because I didn't know anything about self-publishing. I said, I'll look at the course because a friend of mine had taken it. I especially liked the approach you had in business, not just self, but the business approach, how you approach it. Then from there, I saw the goal program, which was my first time in the business world. Although I had seen info business before, it was the first time I saw a goal program, and I thought it was interesting. I had the call with you. I liked you. And then I started with CK's goal program. And now here we are.
Perfect. And I'll explain a little bit for the newcomers who are following us, Luke, what this goal program is. We launched this program, let's say the first one, also with Luke Confero, who is well versed in the info business. This has never been seen before, guys. What does it mean? It means that it is no longer a goal-oriented path with X amount of money for X hours of consultation, but rather the consultations will be unlimited. The path will be infinite until the predetermined goal is reached. So let's say you like this thing here. You decided to close the previous windows and start dedicated here.
Okay, so you start the program in September. Tell us a bit about how it's going. Well, to be honest, the first few months were up and down, but mostly because of me, as I didn't enter with that 100% mentality. It was kind of like that. I was doing call style work, but maybe I wasn't fully committed. So I had a couple of months where I did very little net, but also very little work. Then, oh well, then maybe we can go into more detail. In December, I got banned. I got banned because of a book. I managed to resolve it. What happened with this book here? In short, Amazon said that I had copied another book, meaning that I had copied their book. So I received this ban. However, more or less, I managed to resolve it after about a month. Then in January, I started again and did January and February, which are going very well, especially because I changed my mindset. Giuseppe has always been there, as I was doing calls with Giuseppe. And from there, these months have gone, let's say, well, it can always get better, but they have gone well.
Sure. So regarding the account ban issue, since we just had a very important live session, are you doing well now? Are you taking all the necessary precautions? Are you protecting yourself?
Look, just now, like in the last 5 to 6 days, I have put sales aside for a moment, so they have dropped a bit. But because I focused much more on checking all the books, doing them well, having everything to be 100% protected. So at least I am at ease because, you know, many say that with self-publishing, you don't have control on Amazon. No, I mean, if you protect yourself, have everything under control, you also have much more control compared to other businesses. I mean, maybe we can delve deeper into this, but there are other businesses that have variables even harder to manage compared to these small things that are easier said than done. Once you understand what you need to do for all the parts, it's a piece of cake.
But in fact, it's a very normal thing. It's normal when you go into business, right? And you are still in Amazon's house, you have to respect certain things. But even if you weren't, I mean, a restaurant comes to mind. You open a restaurant, there are regulations to follow here, as well as workplace safety. And these are things you must comply with. No exceptions. They come and either shut you down or impose fines. Same thing here. You need to work well. Anyway, the ban on your book, let's say, wasn't really your fault. It was a bit of a speech, but it's fine. The important thing is that it's sorted out, that now everything is resolved in the end. There are setbacks. In any type of business, there can be setbacks. The important thing is to resolve them and move forward. That is normal.
Look, maybe in the serious business, there are also far fewer hiccups than in others, meaning there are far fewer variables to control than in other businesses. So in that sense, it's also a luxury, let's say.
What other businesses have you done? Drop shipping.
Telephone sales, but in the end, I was working. That was the only trip anyway.
Even there, you don't have control over phone sales. Why? Because you are always at the mercy of the entrepreneur at the time. If the entrepreneur goes up, you go up. If the entrepreneur goes down, there's a period of stoppage.
Then it also depends on the contacts they give you, of course. Maybe there's someone who has been around longer, so they give better contacts, while you might get the colder ones, meaning the less qualified ones, maybe not. Well, the less cold ones, less cold means they are less interested.
Exactly. Less interested. There are few who get there just because they have nothing else to do. Info. Okay, so maybe it's not a real interest. So if you dedicate a lot of time, obviously the chances of closing sales are few. So you have little control there.
The good thing about selling is that it's like doing a job without allowing a budget, but there's another downside. Then I did drop shipping, both when I was working for the girls who were doing it and later when I managed it myself. It's a whole different world. First of all, it takes much more time. You have to be much more involved. There are many more variables. And above all, you need to have the skills to handle those variables. Because these are the skills that are really in depth. Advertising, knowing how to create creatives, logistics, and also being a task manager. There are thousands of things to manage, like, for example, the self-publishing that you might do for fun with 1 or 2 hours a day.
They are two completely different concepts. One, let's say, takes advantage of Amazon and the marketing done by Amazon. Let's say the trust, how can I put it? The confidence that people have in Amazon. They go there to buy precisely because it's well known, right? So you leverage this system to make money. Another option is to sell your product outside of Amazon. And you need to have the skills to create the website. You need to know how to create a sales funnel. You need to know how to attract people. And you need to know how to advertise. Then, how is it with the ban issue there?
You had to laugh when they say you have no control. I mean, maybe those who do drop shipping say you have no control. That, in the end, in drop shipping on Facebook, but not just Facebook, all platforms, it's the same thing as Amazon. If you do things well, then you're fine. If you do things poorly, you get banned all the time. The same thing you were saying before about Amazon. If you do everything right, like Amazon or in a restaurant, you won't have any problems. Every business is treated as a business. If you do things well, protect yourself and stay calm. That's the point. And anyway, yes, there were many bans with Facebook. It was a bloodbath.
So first you had to build your website. So for skills, you built the website. Then you had to integrate payment processors.
But that's also it.
And there it seems to be a problem. You still need to have a VAT number. Otherwise, you can't set up payment processors, which is not the case for publishing, because you can also start without any type of VAT number. So already there, guys, building the site, integrating it, the payment processors, having an open tax position, knowing how to do advertising. So the ads. Now, what's the difference between Amazon ads and Facebook ads?
No, well, Amazon ads is a whole different world. I mean, there's very little to control because in the end, if you make a good book, the ads work. I wouldn't say on their own, but almost. They more or less run on their own. Facebook is a completely different world. You need to know how to do advertising. It's really a skill you have to learn. You need to understand well how to do it. And above all, the budget. That is, the budget is still pressed in the awards, whereas Amazon doesn't spend that much in the company. Then it obviously depends on the niche, but generally you don't spend that much.
After the advertising talk, let's say everything goes well, people come, buy the product, and that's it.
The product, bow gradually. That's because often there you can have control. Otherwise, it depends. Then maybe it also depends on how you do drop shipping, because obviously, if you do it at a higher level where you have a team under you, you have well organized logistics. Okay. But then we're talking more about well done drop shipping e-commerce like a company does, and you can't do that overnight.
Here we are talking about people who want to start from scratch.
There, however, you have some problems, both in terms of logistics and product quality, because it takes nothing for a poorly made product to reach the customer there, which is bad because it also depends on what product you are selling. So even there, you have a certain responsibility, because the book, in the end, okay, maybe a poorly made book, first of all, you can correct it, but then it's a 10 euro book. It's not. Many don't even read it. It's a whole different thing. Those problems are numerous as well.
Then the risk from Amazon on one hand, certainly.
Exactly. No, obviously, having Amazon's trust and Amazon's logistics makes a big difference. If they have a problem, they can easily resolve it with Amazon. You have a product that you need to handle yourself. Many times in the beginning, you do the customer service yourself, meaning you respond to the emails.
Returns. Obviously, these are all products, guys, that to make a profit are imported from China, so the shipping times are very long, unless you want to make a stop, but they are always capital.
Exactly. Look, I want to be objective, and I say that obviously it doesn't mean that no one makes money with drop shipping. It's very possible to make money with drop shipping, but you have to consider your needs and what you want to do in life. If you maybe want to do a side hustle, as they say in American English, a second job, you might see that there could be much better opportunities compared to starting drop shipping. Then there are a lot of people who achieve good numbers. We're not here to say you can't make numbers with drop shipping, but you see the variables.
But let's say I start from scratch, from knowing how to make a website, knowing how to do marketing, knowing how to create ads, the copy for the ads, knowing how to do Facebook ads, finding the product, managing shipments, managing customer service, handling returns, interfacing with payment agents, and having a tax position. On the other hand, the benefits of publishing, for example, no tax position.
I already had it because I already had it, so it's fine, but you don't have an initial tax position. In terms of variables, specifically in business, there will be 5, the ones that really matter. 5. You don't have logistics or customer service problems. You just need to find the right collaborators, and that's it. If you find the right collaborators, you've already done almost everything.
You obviously need to understand the keyword aspect well, so you know where to position your books. You need to know how to create products with the right collaborators, as Luke mentioned, with a low budget. Then we will also talk about the budget issue. There are ads that definitely need to be managed, which are much simpler. Let's say Facebook ads. One thing that personally fascinates me is the sale of digital products, in the sense that in other businesses, staying on the topic of drop shipping, when a product is physical, with all the problems that come with it. But beyond that, it's really a matter of costs. Every single sale has a product cost. I take 100 euros and I have to spend 50 euros on the product. You Amazon, we upload the PDF file that we pay for once. So we spend $100 to create our PDF file of our recipe book. We upload it to Amazon, but that recipe book could sell 1,000 copies, 2,000 copies, 50,000 copies.
You paid him once and you have it forever.
And you always resell it. So getting a bit into the budget discussion, even with progressive experience, how did you find yourself in terms of budget?
I started off with a bang, so I began with quite a bit of budget, but actually you can start just fine, because on an individual book level, it's a piece of cake. It's really not much. And also the level of ads is low. Then if you want to do a lot, you can do a lot, like in all businesses. But let's say that the level of, if you start with a few well-made books, because in the end, the beauty of your course, of the consultations, is to make well-made books with less cost, but maximum yield.
Sure.
So in the end, You don't need a huge budget and you don't spend that much on ads either.
A book finished to pay for, let's say, a normal recipe, a book.
So including reviews and everything, it will be 200, 250 euros, maybe. Yes, let's say we're around that amount. To be generous, let's say 300, just to be safe. We are being generous. You could even do it for less. We have 300 euros to spare. Keep in mind that you can make 3 books, 3 well-made books with 300 euros. Then with 200, with 3 books, you can also make 2,000 euros per book.
Okay. So basically with 1,000 euros by making 3 books, 1,000, 1,200 by making 3 books, launching everything, you can get to make 2K each per month with these 3 books.
Yes, yes, yes. Then of course it depends on how you make the books. You can make a random book. It depends on the niche, the keyword, how you do it, how you don't do it. But with a few books, you can make a nice profit right away.
I mean, potentially, guys, with a book. I have always shown a book, I don't know if you remember, even within the course. A book, I had paid $500 in total at the time. Guys, I had paid 32K.
And with a book,
The book, we are talking about it. The book, we are talking about it. The book, we are talking about it. And it wasn't the secret keyword. The keyword that we all know, simply, the approach is different, right? How did you find your level of approach?
so the approach, as I was saying before, at the beginning, I made mistakes. I made mistakes because I wanted to do a lot. With little time, with little, I was very distracted. But this is a bit my fault, not a bit my fault. It's not the fault of others, it's my fault. I understood the situation a bit. Together with Giuseppe, they did a good launch for me, and indeed, it went well. Then now, I'm sorting them out for a whole other matter, but then they went. So in the end, in my opinion, if you follow what you guys say, make well done books with the budget you have, because if someone has more budget, it's better for them. In the first month, you can already recover everything. I want to do things well, because if you do everything distracted, no.
Sure. In fact, you can also see, Luke, in the example, the difference in approach. I mean, if you are so relaxed, like, I won't put in much effort, let's see. The results don't come immediately. If you focus at the moment when Luke made the decision and said he would get serious, the results were not long in coming. You have plenty of examples within the group as well, Denisa. All the guys, there are people who really take off from one month to the next.
Another thing I've noticed is that there are a lot of people in this group who achieve results, some more, some less, but almost everyone achieves results. That's what's also nice. I mean, especially the value within the group and the people who help.
How find yourself in the group?
Look, for example, the last live session they did, those weekly live sessions, which in the info business, everyone usually offers as a bonus. Everyone says, yes, weekly live session, but then they don't actually say anything. Instead, these live sessions are very interactive because everyone shares their opinions and proposes ideas. And also the latest live sessions, especially the last one, which, without explaining too much, was rightly to protect themselves. In the end, it turns your business around, let's say, because you cover yourself as you should in any business. You cover your ass, let's say. You cover it. And you are much more relaxed. And then also the rest, if you have a problem and ask a question, there are 3 or 4 people who help you immediately. So that makes a big difference. That makes a big difference in a business.
Absolutely. Yes, I am really proud of the community because it truly is a fantastic community. There are really so many focused guys. Everyone helps each other. If one has a problem, they all have it. Many young people who came to other training programs had not achieved life-changing goals. I mean, we really have people who are achieving very, very significant numbers. And there are people who do live sessions every Monday without missing a single one.
It's true. Seeing also, I had never done self-publishing before, but hearing also, luckily, by knowing AIM, you meet people from other sectors. I had friends who also gave up on self-publishing because they were spending too much to make books and weren't making it back. Instead, if you, as you explained, learn to make books with a small budget, In that case, they were making numbers. Everything was in that.
Yes, because unfortunately, many people rely on various courses or paths that have the ulterior motive of differentiating the various services. It's obvious that we first had a discussion, so we make 3 books with 1,000 and recover them in the first month. Obviously, if I spend 6 to 7,000 on those 3 books, it means she did a good job. That is, those books sell, and they all sell. It will still take me too long to get a return on my investment if one doesn't sell any of those, or if you did everything wrong and none of the 3 sell, because there is no underlying criterion, you have simply delegated the responsibility. So you said, they will be good at writing the book, they will be good at making the covers. Instead of putting in 6 to 7K, try launching the books don't sell.
Exactly. You also need to. And then getting into the more technical part. One thing that you explain well is how to do the briefs, both for the covers and the text. That is something underestimated because you don't have to delegate the responsibility to others. No, you have to do things well yourself, because if the book doesn't sell, okay, it's you who did something wrong.
And he always does that. I mean, that is absolutely the most important thing. For example, the cover. I like to use examples with physical businesses to make people realize what they are doing. Because, sometimes when online, sticking with the restaurant example, we can say that the cover is 70, 80% of our business, and the rest I would say are the ads. So it's the facade. People buy because of the cover. In superficial talks, you, me, and Luke have a restaurant, and the decorator arrives, the one who does the work. But guys, what color should I paint the restaurant? But I don't know. You decide. If you're the painter, and you'll make the restaurant brown. The decorator arrives, but sure, you do it. You're the decorator, what do I know, right? All of grandma's armchairs. Do you think people will come to this restaurant?
She is very good, same thing. Because the point is that many people say, well, self-publishing, I sell books. That's it. Instead, no, you have to see it as a business. Obviously, it doesn't mean you have to create a giant company. No, it means there are things to respect. You have to study a bit, not a lot of time, because then maybe it would take, I might be a young guy. I have a lot of time anyway, but maybe someone who works 8 hours, comes home maybe tired. But you don't have to spend maybe 7 hours in front of the computer. Even those 2 hours done well are enough. 2 hours a day add up to a lot after a while. Those 2 well-spent hours studying how to make a brief, how to make the covers, how to handle all the variables. Then you did the business.
In the initial phase, because later on, once they are launched, you optimize the ads, meaning the books are stabilized there for 2 hours. That is, if you want to delve deeper, if you want to look for something else, but they are not necessary.
Then you also have some files. I mean, this is maybe something we can look at later. There's also the matter of organization. These are perhaps the things I like the most in terms of organization.
Exactly. Before, maybe even when you were doing other things, were you this organized? Did being fully organized, having everything set up with management tools, and everything scheduled actually change things for you?
So in my opinion, it made a big difference. Before, when I was doing dropshipping, I had both income and expenses because I still had to see some results. Otherwise, it was difficult. But here there was an organization, both in terms of understanding where your money is going, what you are spending a lot on, and how you can improve it. And that already made a big difference. Then above all, understand how your books are doing, like, okay, how many reviews they have, what is going wrong, what I need to improve. Also, the topic of ads, the ads file, that is something spectacular. To me, that is something spectacular because you really get to understand what things need to be improved. And you have everything under control, so you save some time, especially in terms of organization, including the drive files. You know that here you have your book with the covers, with the descriptions, with the briefs. You have everything under control, saving time like a business. This is something that has improved a lot. It has improved a lot indeed.
Management and organization of work are fundamental, guys. If you can do in 1 hour in an organized manner what you would otherwise do in 4 hours, you understand the importance. Then it is essential to have everything under control, to understand where to look, where the data is, and to have precise accounting there as well. not just income and expenses. But understanding exactly where every cent has been invested, then you can draw conclusions and see where budget optimizations can be made.
You can make 100K by spending 50K. That's fine. It's good. You still made 50K. But if you made those 100K by spending 25K, 25,000 euros more, no, exactly. But also the factor of understanding how much will come out, because in the end, Amazon pays in 60 days, which is something you need to keep in mind. You know it, pays you in 60 days. How much money will I spend next month? What will I spend it on? And so having that vision as well, you are much more relaxed and organized, always there. Having the files is fundamental, and you provide them all.
How much will I spend? How much will I earn? How much can I take for myself? It could be a check. No, because people really write like just like that without planning. They take, but I had 2 books, but how much did you spend? I don't know. But how much do you get back? I don't know. I have the ads running. Guys, it's a business. Exactly, pure and simple. I mean, if you also run a restaurant, you have staff, right? You need to know how much you pay them, how much you pay for goods, how much you pay for bills, how much you earn. It's the same thing.
Divide it like a business.
Exactly.
When you make that switch, you understand how to do things.
Exactly. It's nothing impossible, guys. In fact, it makes things easier and clearer.
Actually, look, for example, when there was that live session explaining how to protect oneself, some people were saying, oh my God, damn, now what do we do? Instead, it's going to be the opposite, damn. You know how to protect yourself now. Thank goodness you know. Because you can do it now and not maybe when you encounter a problem. You can do it beforehand. As they say, better safe than sorry. Those are things that really make you say, damn, they are good, really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely, with the quantities. Guys, you need to do things properly. That is, don't slack off. Another question I wanted to ask you, considering that you come from other educational experiences, not in the same field, but you surely have taken courses, studied, and invested. What difference does it make, both technically and psychologically, to know that you have a person who has already achieved the results, who follows you, who tells you, I am here, I am always here, as many calls as you want. We can talk on Telegram, write to me whenever you want, and we will continue until you reach the goal. What difference does it make?
He does everything. I mean, for me, he does everything. Because unfortunately, I have also been scammed. Let's say, I mean, I have taken consultations with people who were really incapable of doing what they do. In this case, taking a path where you know that until you achieve this goal, I am here, makes a big difference, especially on a technical level, because you have a certain number of calls available. So whenever you have a problem, there's Telegram and they always respond. You feel much more at ease. Obviously, it doesn't mean you don't have to do anything and they do everything for you. No, you have to get to work. But I also remember the first time when I might disappear for a week, Giuseppe would say, so how is he doing? Let's have a call to catch up. I mean, something that in the end doesn't really have to concern you. If someone says objectively, it might not interest you since it's already paid for. But no, you still care about keeping the goal, that the person reaches the goal. In fact, that meant a lot to me. Maybe he did everything, having the goal program for me on a psychological level.
A coach is seen right there, meaning it's not about the fact that he's already in, the money has been taken. If he doesn't want to do anything, it's his problem. No. It can happen that a person is going through a phase, is a bit distracted, doesn't feel like it. That's exactly what a coach is for, right? To keep you on track, to make you work, to help you. That's exactly where another figure is needed, right? Like a personal trainer, meaning they motivate you. You have to go to the gym. You have to set goals, meaning there are deadlines, goals. Okay, and maybe in the previous businesses, you might have risked falling into procrastination, or you were just tinkering around doing things without having anyone to turn to or ask for help.
No, exactly. That made the difference for me. I mean, it really made a difference knowing that there was someone following me and then someone who had already achieved results. That made the difference for me.
Perfect. So let's get to the highlight, the moment everyone has been waiting for, the numbers you achieved then in January and February. How are they going? Can you show us something? Okay, then wait that.
How do you exactly share them in detail? So I'll show you starting from January just to explain October, November. I made very little net profit, maybe 500 euros net per month. Then in December, I had the BAM, which makes 300 euros, and that's it net. I had the BAM. Now, let's show January. Wait, let me show you first. Well, this is the January expense. Well, the ads aren't tracking anything for me, so I spent 37 on the US market. I'll show you January. Originally 5,700 with an expense of 3,600, so about 2,100 USD.
So since we started taking it seriously, you recovered from the ban in December, first month of publishing, on point, 2 small wins.
Exactly. The entire US market, more or less, because Canada made some organic sales, but didn't do anything significant. And that's it. Then we move on to February, which is not over yet, but thankfully, it doesn't change much. Expenses, let's say 5,000 to round it off. Sales, well, for me, it doesn't track anything at all, which is actually quite embarrassing. Then February, go. For now, I'm at 19,000. If I ever reach maybe 20,000, but I think 19,600 or so, 19,500. Now you're printing all the books. So you've stopped the sales. Yes, let's say.
So I'm also sending all the books. So you have stopped the sales.
That now I'm not even looking at the ads because I said, okay, luckily this month went well. I am stopping to prioritize the protection of the books and also to make modifications to put them back on the market because some things have changed a bit. I protect myself well because Amazon pays in 60 days. The problems, when you start making slightly larger figures, come when they don't pay. So it's better to protect yourself beforehand. You might lose a little money, yes, that's fine, but you'll have peace of mind. And then I'll start again next month, but at least I'll get settled. That's the fundamental thing. And so this month, about 14,000 USD, which is around 13,000 euros, roughly there.
Exactly, guys. This is for all those people who are asking me, but Ricardo especially, for those in the course, I've seen the anti-ban strategies. But what should I do? Should I fix all the books I had already published or not? Absolutely. You absolutely need to go and fix them, even if it means losing a little. Go, Luke, you can also stop. So you might lose a little in terms of royalties, but you are protected. You are at ease.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I would recommend it to everyone, even to those who are not making big numbers. I would say, look, rather stop. I mean, don't stop in the sense of giving priority for a week to protection, to protect yourself. Then you can redo the timing. You can do other launches, but stay calm because it's a business. If you get banned for a reasonable issue, meaning you did something you shouldn't have done, then it's difficult. It's more money and time that you lose. Instead, you might lose a week to avoid losing 2 months, though. That's the reasoning. That's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I mean, once someone develops the skills, they make money. Even if you leave for a moment to sort out a couple of things and then start again, nothing will happen. You know. So basically, the second month you're taking it seriously, I saw expenses of 5,419. So we're talking about 14,000 net, 14,000. We're talking about 14,000 net.
Clean.
Plus 2,000 from the first month, let's say 16,000 net.
Yes, more or less. I have almost recovered both the cost of the mentor and the hospitalization. I mean, hospitalization, what I spent on the books, almost everything, just a little bit left.
Obviously, Luke had started with an important program that cost 10K. And so he has practically already recovered everything and the various production costs. So from here, he now retains the skills, the established business, all the context we provided. And from here, he will continue his climb. Anyway, 14K net in a month. Guys, are significant numbers. I ask you to please repeat how old you are. What year did you arrive?
2022.
Not that, guys, well, not that. I'm much older. I'm from 98, 4 years older. But when I was 20, I was still working as a waiter. I don't know if you guys are understanding the results here. A 20-year-old guy, 14K net. I mean, he might have earned more than his parents combined, more than double his parents combined.
These are great satisfaction. Now it's up to him to duplicate them, maintain them, and everything. However, to tell the truth, it's a great satisfaction and also a nice boost in terms of money. I mean, in a sense, it gives you cash. You have extra cash to do other things afterwards. So there are always pros in these things.
Absolutely. Now, I am sure that you will move forward and scale significantly. But how are the skills to make 14,000 net in a month, then reach 30, then reach 40 net in a month, and have the testimonials? So now we say you have the strategies, you just need to replicate them. The market is vast. I mean, people ask me, but the competition, I mean, is it sadder? What is the American book market getting saturated?
No, it's not possible. Then there's no, for you it's impossible. But then you have, I mean, also other markets, which is actually something I want to do in the future. I mean, there are things.
Absolutely. And so I am super happy with the results I have achieved. Congratulations. I'm glad you seriously got into it, even though the first period was a bit challenging. Now it's just a matter of continuing, really scaling up. By the way, what goals have you set for yourself? I get everyone involved. I really like it because then I do the update of the interviews after X months.
Look, I don't really like to commit myself actually. So look, I never talk much about figures, but let's be generous. In the next 6 months, I definitely plan to replicate these figures, but also to possibly reach 20 units. It will be around 30 in revenue. But more importantly, also expanding into other markets, creating other accounts to diversify. However, I must say that the figure reaches around 30 in revenue, buying in all markets within 6 months.
And if you think about it, from September to today, how many months is that? 6 months, at least 5 months. 5 months. This is the 6th month. So in 6 months, even though you took it easy at first, even though there was the ban and everything at the beginning, you managed to do. The month isn't over. 20K, of which 14 is nothing. And if you weren't organizing all the books, it would definitely be on an upward trajectory. So, totally doable.
Yes, but if it's feasible, I also think it's feasible. Now it's just a matter of making new publications, fixing these ones that I'm redoing now, and then moving forward.
Then there's the perspective of diversifying, definitely at the account level, both to mitigate risk, because after all, Meme and everyone else are working in the same basket. And also from an exit perspective, you have thought about it, you have seen.
Yes, but I think I want to grow this account a lot in the sense that it will be the main account. As for an exit, I'm not sure, but I thought about maybe also creating a second account, making them smaller to do an exit. Smaller ones, maybe.
Those are the ones that sell first, let's say, right? They are kind of like the studios, let's say, the ones for 50, 60K that you sell immediately. Obviously, selling accounts for 3 to 4 to 500,000 euros becomes a, let me say, one thing, another topic. By the way, I just sold one. I have this news in advance that I will indeed add a module to the course. I will explain to you in detail how to answer all the questions to make the exit. I have an extra account when I made 2K. I sold it for 50K. But in your spare time, you can really make 2K net in your spare time with this business.
Yes, don't worry. You can easily make 2K net.
Yes, 2K net, yes, but really easy. Reaching 20 already requires a different kind of setup and work. Just replicate. If you can do 2, you can do 10, you can do 20.
You are scaling it and gaining more skills. That's all.
So, what do you think recommended path?
Actually, look, I would like to give some advice to everyone. If you are just starting out, I suggest you take an extra month, set aside a little more budget, and when possible, because it's not always possible, take the goal program. A goal program, not just for 5, but also for 5, it helps you a lot. You can help yourself a lot. Even just the course, but if we have to be honest, a program with a goal like this helps a lot, much more. So if it's recommended, top.
Thank you very much. So, for young guys like you who are all obsessed with dropshipping seriously on a business level, to start, if you were to start over from the beginning, where would you dive in?
No, look, because it's a well-known guide, more or less, you also missed out on guys, maybe some older than me by a year, you, but also you, who make money with self-publishing just like they do with dropshipping. If I have to give an objective piece of advice, it depends on what you want to do. It depends on what you want to do, because if you see dropshipping with a bigger perspective, maybe wanting to move into e-commerce later, so you gain a lot of skills, I would say, okay, go for it. It takes more time, but it's worth it. However, if you want to start gaining your freedom, achieving your independence, and creating your first business, self-employment is a good business.
I mean, to start earning, to start making the first bit of money online,
Then yes, I would say
then absolutely. E-commerce is also a very valid option. We're not here to say, no, self-publishing is the best of all. I don't give a damn. The fact is, it's all about simplicity.
In terms of simplicity, you have far fewer variables. I mean, just say that you have a lot fewer variables to learn in self, to understand. So I would say self-publishing, yes, all the way.
Which then can be a springboard for other things. Like, you built your house with self-publishing. Do you want to do e-commerce? So it's not about taking the little Chinese product with 3 month shipping times. You take 20, 30, 40,000 euros, you go and create a brand, you make a stock of well-made products, you brand them, you get serious influencers, and you create a business reality with quick delivery where logistics are situated. However, it's a different kind of thing, a different level, both in terms of skills and economically. As for the self, it is much simpler.
That is what it is, much simpler compared to drop shipping. You can't deny that. There are far fewer things to do. So for that reason, I would say self then.
Okay, so I would say we've covered pretty much everything. Thank you so much for your time and your testimony. I hope it can be helpful. Anyway, really congratulations on everything. Congratulations on staying focused this week. Congratulations again for your age, because really, at 20 years old, most guys are hanging out at the park, but there are those who buckle down and work on projects like this. So really, congratulations. And that's it. Good night. Thank you all. Thank you all.
That's perfect. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Great job, Luke. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi, guys.